Firstpost reports from the world's second largest continent. Hello, I'm Alyson Grange. A very warm welcome from Durban, South Africa. We get you the news and the newsmakers from Africa. South Africa goes to the polls on the 29th of May. I will track the election and bring you ground reports. Is it the end of the road for the African National Congress? And will former President Jacob Zuma stage a dramatic comeback? From elections to climate change to innovations and opportunities. As the world's attention shifts, we report from Africa, the heart of the global South. Join me every weekday live on Firstpost. Hello and welcome to Firstpost Africa, where we get you the top stories from the continent and from across the world. I'm Alyson Grange, coming to you live from Durban, South Africa. First, let's take a look at the headlines. Chinese President Xi Jinping hosts his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin in Beijing. Both leaders frame ties between the two countries as a stabilizing force in a chaotic world. Now, Lebanon's Iran-backed Hezbollah launches more than 60 rockets at Israeli military positions in retaliation for overnight strikes on the country's east. U.S. delegation discusses withdrawal of its troops from the junta-led Niger as Washington prepares to abandon its strategic position in the Sahel, where Russia is gaining ground. France imposes a state of emergency, deploys troops to New Caledonia ports and international airport, and bans TikTok amid violent clashes in the archipelago over new voting rules. And the European Union opens a formal investigation into Facebook and Instagram on suspicion that the platforms owned by Meta are causing addictive behavior in children. We will bring you all the election updates. Hello and welcome. We begin with South Africa, a country that is counting down to a milestone election touted as the toughest since the end of apartheid. Now, the May 29th vote is a major test for the ruling African National Congress and President Cyril Ramaphosa. The ruling ANC, which is already under immense pressure, has even more reasons to be worried now. South Africa's unemployment rate has risen for the second quarter in a row. Now, these numbers come just days ahead of election. Data shows the unemployment rate at 32.9% in the first 3 months of the year. The unemployment rate was at 32.1% in the last fourth quarter of last year, and this brings the official unemployment rate closer to the record high of 35.3% in 2021 during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Unemployment in this country historically has been a problem. One of the huge problems that we have in this country is that South Africa, being a third world country, our labor laws are first world. In order for small businesses to bring in new people into their businesses, it's almost impossible. And that is one of the big issues that needs to be sorted out in this country. Our middle class is dropping all the time. The rich are getting richer and the middle class are getting poorer. The government does absolutely nothing to encourage middle class. Small businesses are shutting down on a regular basis, and it's actually very, very sad.
We need to go out into more rural communities, gather the lessons and skills, take it out to the rural communities, get them building on their skills so that we can create more jobs for them in the non-rural communities.
I've seen a lot of youngsters coming in and out, dropping their CVs, looking for something, which is unfortunate. I wish the community can come together, do something about the young ones, even the older ones, maybe try to create some job opportunities like open businesses and everything, things that can make them busy and earn money at the same time, because it's tough out there. It's very tough.
Joblessness has risen about 10 percentage points in 3 decades since the ANC came to power under Nelson Mandela. 30 years on, unemployment is a key concern among voters. The total number of unemployed people stands at more than 8.2 million. Unemployment rates are especially high among the South African youth and women. In fact, earlier today, I spoke with some women in Durban on the current situation of joblessness in the country. Take a look.
The unemployment affects us a lot, especially the females. So we as a single parent, we are suffering. We can't take our kids to school very well because we don't have the school transport. Some ladies got the job maybe two days a week. You see, or the construction just for only 3 months, so nothing permanent.
Lot of job, but we don't get because we are females. We have that problem yet, Blackburn. We are living with a child support grant only, and me, I'm not working at all. I don't get any wages. Only child support grant I'm getting every month. The government must give us job because we don't want to depend on someone else. We want to work for ourselves because we got kids and we are single parent.
As South Africa approaches a pivotal election, the nation grapples with an unemployment crisis that has now reached a staggering 32.9%. Just 2 weeks before voters head to the polls, the latest figures reveal a sharp increase in joblessness, with over 8.2 million South Africans out of work. Now, this alarming trend poses significant challenges for the incumbent government, where high unemployment is a key political issue ahead of the polls and fuels the debate on economic policies among political contenders. The question on every South African's mind is clear: which party will not only promise but also deliver a robust strategy to combat unemployment? As we count down to Election Day, the nation's future hangs in the balance, with the hope that the next government will pave the way for prosperity and inclusive growth. Like we mentioned earlier, the support for the ANC has been waning over the last 30 years. This is largely because of its failure to deliver jobs, housing, services to millions of poor, and of course, corruption. Now, several polls predict the African National Congress may dip below 50% of the vote this election. This would be a landmark moment in South African politics. If the ANC loses its majority, it would need support to form a coalition government and keep President Cyril Ramaphosa in office for a second and final 5-year term. Now, for more on this, we are being joined by Solly Mulay, the Acting Deputy Director General for Population and Social Statistics. Welcome to Firstpost Africa.
Thank you, and welcome to the viewers.
Right. Now, the unemployment rate has risen to 32.9% in the first quarter. Now, this rampant unemployment is a hot topic in the upcoming May 29th vote. Will this discouraging information have any effect on the upcoming elections?
Thank you. I think from our side, as a National Statistical Office in South Africa, our responsibility is to manage and also publish statistics. And as you have already mentioned in your introduction, our responsibility is to track to administrate official statistics. And according to our data, we are sitting now at 32.9% unemployment rate. And I think from our side, we are at the point where we are sharing with the current government that is finishing its term and in preparation for the new government to give them a baseline in terms of these indicators.
Now, Solly, the youth unemployment especially is very high, with 59.7% of young people between the ages of 15 and 24 being unemployed. This is a national crisis, but none of the political parties currently contesting have made youth employment the core of their plans. What are your thoughts here?
Thank you. I think from our side, what we do is that as I said, we publish data and we break it down even by age. And to your point, what we have picked up, especially in this quarter, which is quarter one of 2024, is that we are seeing more of the new entrants into the labor market. So meaning that there are South Africans who have just graduated from the universities who are looking for a job. And also we have South Africans who just went through the school curriculum, and they do have their matric certificate, and they are also looking for a job. So what we are seeing from the numbers, we're seeing that the graduate unemployment have increased by 2.3%, although it's still the lowest when compared to other category of education. But it shows that there's more of graduates. And also, as you have pointed out, we are seeing that youth, it's vulnerable to unemployment.
And looking at the numbers, what is causing this continuous decline in employment levels? And in your view, what needs to be done?
Okay, so we do have what you call it a national development plan. So it's quite clear in terms of the indicators. If you look at and you read it, it talks to how the economy needs to grow. We were supposed to target around more than 5% in terms of growth, for us to have about 20 million or so South Africans in employment. And the current figures are showing us that the economy is growing by less by 1%. And as you pointed out, we only have 16.7 million who are employed. Although this 16.7 million, maybe let me put it in context, is that if you compare with the pre-COVID numbers, we managed to even bypass the pre-COVID numbers. But I think the manner on the rate in which we are creating jobs and the absorption rate if you look at the indicator of absorption rate, we're still not doing well. We're still only absorbing few in the labor in the market, in the employment market. So for us, I think to move to a point where we can achieve the indicators like your absorption rate has to increase, the number of unemployment has to increase, and then also different industries they has also to absorb more South Africans into the labor market.
Absolutely. Solly, thank you very much for being with us on Firstpost Africa.
All right, thank you.
Moving on to Nigeria now, the African country's former central bank chief is embroiled in a new controversy. Now, Godwin Emefiele has been charged for illegally printing new banknotes. He has also been accused of withdrawing billions of naira without the approval of the president. According to the charges posed by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Nigeria's former central bank chief illegally printed nearly 685 million naira. Authorities say this between October of 2022 and March of 2023. He ordered the printing of new 1,500 and 200 naira banknotes. All of this without the approval of the president and the Central Bank of Nigeria board. In addition, the anti-graft agency said that Emefiele had approved the withdrawal of nearly 125 billion naira from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation. The printing of new notes was meant to reduce the use of cash in the economy, but instead it has further made life difficult for Nigerians. Businesses have been disrupted and hardships of the residents have only multiplied. Nigeria is already struggling with economic headwinds amidst a sticky inflation and declining currency. Citizens are facing the worst cost of living crisis in decades. As of April 2024, Nigeria's inflation stood at 33.69%, the highest in 28 years.
Like me, I be farmer.
I cannot afford to buy petrol to power my generator to water the farm because of the high cost of petrol. Things are difficult in the country, food is expensive as well as several other items. The price of gari and rice are high. With this high cost of goods, we cannot train our children in school or manage to buy food.
Now, the former head of the Central Bank of Nigeria has denied any wrongdoing. He has pled not guilty to all charges in the latest case, and now he is out on bail. But this is not the first time Emefiele has been charged. In fact, he faces a plethora of corruption accusations. He is also under investigation for illegally possessing a firearm and ammunition, charges that he denies.
3 courts have said release him on bail. He's not running away, for God's sake. He has served this nation for 9 years. Where is he going to go to? All his life is in Nigeria here. And you can imagine a situation where 2 federal government military apparatus are fighting themselves, manhandling the commander of the prison commission. It is a disgrace to this nation.
In 2023, Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu suspended Emefiele after coming to power. This was following the ongoing investigations of his office and planned reforms. The former central banker is the highest profile official to face corruption charges under Tinubu's administration. With 2 major wars, one in Ukraine and the other in Gaza, dozens of proxy wars and a few others are at tipping point. The world is definitely witnessing uncertain times. Countries across the world are ramping up defenses and are increasing their spending on defense equipment. New technologies are reshaping the way wars are fought and are opening up new opportunities for the future. And existing weapon systems are also proving their worth adapting to counter new challenges on the battlefield. Now, some African countries are also making giant strides in modernizing their defense forces. They are now extending beyond traditional reliance on tanks, fighter jets, and surface ships. One of the most notable advancements in African countries' defense in recent times has been the acquisition and deployment of submarines. Submarines represent a significant leap in military technology due to their stealth and endurance and versatility. The global maritime security realities in today's time further necessitate the need for undersea defense. As oceans across the world become more complex and contested, submarines will provide unrivaled conventional superiority to navies which can operate them. Unlike surface ships, submarines can operate undetected for extended periods, providing a strategic advantage in defensive and offensive maritime operations. For Africa in particular, the adoption of submarine technology marks a new era in naval warfare. It is enabling countries to enhance their maritime security, protect territorial waters, and to deter potential aggressors. Africa has an unbroken coastline of nearly 30,000 kilometers. Out of the 54 countries on the continent, 39 have access to the sea. But according to Global Firepower list, only 3 have a submarine fleet. Now, the first is Egypt. Egypt has invested massively in its naval capabilities. It has 8 submarines, 4 of which are Type 209 German submarines. These are armed with 8 torpedo tubes and 14 torpedoes. The remaining 4 are ex-Chinese Romeo-class submarines. These were built in China, but were based on the Soviet design. Now, the former Chinese submarines have been modified to use Western periscopes, trailing GPS, passive sonars, a fire control system, and the ability to fire US-made Harpoon missiles. So what Egypt is using is a Soviet-era, Chinese-made, American-upgraded submarine. The Egyptian Navy is only one of the 2 remaining operators of the type in the world, the other being North Korea. Now, the second is Algeria. The Algerian Navy has at least 6 submarines. They operate a few Russian-made Kilo-class submarines. Now, they are diesel-electric attack submarines that were designed in the Soviet Union in the 1970s. These are one of the most successful naval programs in modern history. These Russian submarines are mainly intended for anti-shipping and anti-submarine operations in shallow waters. They are equipped with sonar system, which includes mine detection. Algeria also has units of the Project 636 class, which is also known as the Improved Kilo class. These submarines have also been upgraded to enhance their capabilities. They can launch torpedoes or naval mines and carry up to 18 torpedoes or 24 naval mines. Many have also been outfitted to launch the Caliber family of missiles. The third country is South Africa. South Africa has a small but capable submarine fleet as a part of its naval defense strategy. The Navy possesses 3 Type 209 Heroine-class diesel-electric submarines acquired from Germany. They are 8-bow torpedo tubes, and the submarine can carry up to 14 torpedoes. Now, the Heroine-class submarines are equipped with advanced sonar systems and anti-ship missiles. So clearly, only a handful of countries in Africa own or operate submarines. According to reports, Russia exported 60% of the total submarines in Africa. But as Russia expands its defense partnership with African nations, will it see further submarine export successes in the continent? And finally, to our special segment, Resurgent Africa. Amid the coups and the crises, there are many positive stories from Africa that often get overlooked, but not on this show. Our story today is from Uganda, where a tourist hotspot near the capital city of Kampala is trying to preserve the practices of the Buganda community amid the onslaught of modernization. The Buganda community is one of the largest ethnic groups in East Africa. Our next report tells you how tourism is helping Uganda embrace the future without severing its ties with tradition.
Away from the hustle and bustle of a city, in the calm and soothing surroundings of Mukono, there's a village that awaits to give you the taste of real Uganda. This is the Ivafe Cultural Village. Here visitors get to witness the traditions and cultural norms of the Buganda people, which is one of the largest ethnic groups in East Africa. The village's 30-year-old founder, Aisha Nabwanika, believes the visitors crave an authentic Ugandan experience. And with a tourist spot, she aims to fill that gap in Uganda's cultural tourism.
Statistics have shown us that the tourist who comes to Uganda always wants to first, to also, as they're having game park drives, safaris and all that, they would also want to have a feel of the culture, of the country, to know the people, to eat the local food, to learn a few, words in a local language, to show that I'm actually in that particular culture of that particular country. So I really thought so hard that around here in the central, we were missing, a place like that you would take a tourist to experience a traditional life of a Ugandan. So that is why I came up with this place.
Here, the tourists are greeted by traditional dancers and musicians. They are then welcomed with freshly squeezed banana juice served in traditional cups. During the stay, the tourists also get to relish conventional delicacies made of banana leaves. The visitors are asked to eat food in mud-floored huts, sitting on mats with their loved ones. The practice marks Buganda's age-old tradition of communal eating.
People associate our cultural norms as ancient, backward, or these guys maybe weren't understanding. But trust me, they really put in a lot of knowledge, in some of these things. I mean, it wasn't just done out of the blue. For example, sitting with your children on the same mat and have lunch. It was a way of knowing your children, what are their habits.
The visitors are even encouraged to try their hand in cooking the food using traditional methods.
These days, children do not know how to prepare food. Secondly, they do not know how to dress. Thirdly, they do not know how to behave. A lot of culture and norms are disappearing because of not knowing them. Like us who grew up in the era of strict culture and training, we want to bring these things back amongst the people, and you never know, maybe the world will be a better place.
And it doesn't stop here. The village offers more than a vacation experience to its visitors. The village guide offers counseling to women on marriage and family issues. The employees teach tourists about traditional medicines and fishing, among other skills. To many visitors, the village has become a channel to connect with their Ugandan roots.
Because we have largely grown up in the city personally, and you've over-concentrated on the books, there's been a hiccup somewhere. I feel like coming here to Ivafe Cultural Village has now reconnected me kind of to my roots.
In today's fast-moving world, Ivafe Cultural Village provides a warm touch of tradition and culture while preserving the traditions of Bugandan people from vanishing in this modern era.
And that's it on the show for today. We will see you again tomorrow at the same time. Thank you for watching and goodbye.